Hello guys, you're watching my video course about connecting Vtiger to RabbitMQ. This is my first video course, so sorry if something will be wrong. In this video course, we will try to make Vtiger asynchronous, and we will try to send data to our third-party application, and we will try to accept data. Why we will need to implement this integration with Vtiger, I will tell you in the first video, of course. In the second video, we'll try to update data. Then in the third video, we'll try to send data from our third-party application to our Vtiger. And the most interesting episode will be last one. We will try to make Vtiger asynchronous. So stay tuned, watch all 4 videos of this video course, likes, reposts, and so on. If video will be popular, I'll write more courses about advanced topics, how to connect Vtiger with RabbitMQ, and we'll make some complex stuff like receiving IDs and filtering data. So stay tuned and have a fun and code with me.
Hello guys, in this video I will show you detailed instructions how to work with RabbitMQ and how to connect RabbitMQ to Vtiger. So what is RabbitMQ? I think you read already my article, what is RabbitMQ and how to install it. Shortly, RabbitMQ, it's a message system. It allows you to create asynchronous applications, and it allows create communications channel between different systems. So I advise you to install locally RabbitMQ, or if you don't want to install locally, you can actually use cloud version of RabbitMQ. I created free account and create in cloud RabbitMQ. So let's start. Our video will take 4 steps. We will dive into the 4 steps, and first step is we will set up dev environment for Vtiger. We will install everything what we need for Vtiger for our development purposes. Second step, we will create Laravel applications, and let's dive deeper and I'll try to explain what we will create for our application. So first thing, we will have main Vtiger application, and also we will have, for example, customer portal, and for example we have a website. Let's imagine all this system needs to communicate together. What does it mean? For example, we have website, and for example we have their contact form or something, and we need to send data to Vtiger. Mostly everybody creates communications by API. Send API request to Vtiger, and the same thing, send API request to Vtiger through customer portal. What do I mean for customer portal? For example, you have a login form on your website, and clients can authorize in the in admin panel, and they can see something. For example, they can see invoices, they can see payments, and so on. So they fill out form, they register on your website, and then you need to create, for example, contacts in Vtiger. And the same thing, for example, you create contracts or invoices on or payments in Vtiger, and you need to send it to customer portal. So we have two communications channel between systems. But imagine you have, for example, 3 applications. For example, you have ERP or something, right? And you need to create communications channel between all of them, and you need to send data to third system. And then you have something unusual, I think. You have 3 systems, all of them communicates between each other directly, and you need to support API for all of them. And you need to support authorization logic and so on. So it's very hard to support and hard to develop. It takes too much time, and it's not so efficient, because when you save something in Vtiger, you need to send data to customer portal and to website, and of course if you change something in Vtiger, you need to send this information directly to your website, right? So two-way communications between all channels. Yeah, it becomes messy, and so let's check another situation. We have something between all these systems, and we call it RabbitMQ. And what you will do, if you have something on your website and you need to send it to all systems, you can send this information to RabbitMQ. We store this information in RabbitMQ, and then Vtiger goes to periodically goes to RabbitMQ, takes all messages which we have for Vtiger, and do something internally in Vtiger. Also, the same way Vtiger can send information to RabbitMQ, and RabbitMQ will send information to customer portal or to website. Detailed explanation how RabbitMQ works is in my article. I will not diving deeper to theoretical part. Also, you can read an additional article in description to my video, or I will create blog post additionally with introduction to RabbitMQ, and you will see it when I publish this video, of course. So, at the beginning, I installed Vtiger. It's basically Vtiger with nothing in it. I'll just create a git ignore file and create first commit. So this is my git ignore file. Ignore cache, backup, storage, and so on. And let's start from beginning. Let's create. First things first, we will to install Composer in our system, right? We cannot live without Composer, and I have a detailed instruction in my blog post. So let's start. Let's create Composer, and first things first, we need to install some dependencies. So this Composer require HTML profile. Let's install Smarty. Let's install Kint library. And of course, now we need to connect now we need to connect afterload file to index.php, And then if you read my article carefully, you can see now we need to fix a bug in HTML purifier, and we need to go to utilitils file. Yeah, and we need to find HTML purifier. This one, and we need to change line to this one. Okay, this one. And I think that's all. And yeah, you need to change a file in viewer if you want to connect fresh version of Smarty to your website. You need to go to viewer PHP, includes runtime, and change Smarty to this one. Okay, and now everything should work. So let's check our Vtiger. Yeah, it's basically the same. And yeah, I forgot one thing. You need also it's not in my article, but if you want to connect also cron to your composer, you need to add autoload in composer too, in your cron tab too. Here we connect autoload to cron. Yeah, and I think that's it. We installed composer. Now let's create application. For example, third-party application, and let's implement first scenario. For example, we have contacts here in Vtiger, and let's imagine first scenario. We want to send contacts to third-party application. Let's create this application first. So I have already installed this application. I mean, I created this application. It's just basically a Laravel application with nothing in it. So it's, I mean, it has basically admin panel. I created a background application. Here, this is I'll show you right now this application, and it's very basic. It has just one module. It has a contacts controller, and we can see all contacts. We can create a new contact, can store, show. So this, we have just one app contact. I think we can remove test data. We don't need them. Yeah, I'll show you now database. This is our database. So here we have only fields which we support from Vtiger. So we created first name, last name. You see names of these fields are a little bit different. In Vtiger we don't have underscore, it's for just demo purposes. We have mobile, phone, title, and CRM ID. It's not nullable, and description. So what we want to implement, if we create, for example, new contact in Vtiger, we need to send it to our Laravel. We want them to create right here. Okay, let's implement it. So first thing first, we need to install RabbitMQ, and let's connect our Vtiger to RabbitMQ. Right, okay, so in the beginning, let's add additional function which I add in every Vtiger when I install it. So let's go to utils, PHP file, include web services utils, and add utils function get CRM entity by ID. We will need it later. So to work with AMPQ, we need to install additional library to our composer. It's this one, PHP-MQlib. You can read documentation about it, and I will show you right now how to connect this library to our system. So first things first, you need to install this library to our composer. And yeah, we have this library. And let's start to connect it. Okay, so first thing first, what we need to do is to create something which we need to send to MPQ, right? If you read this article, you can see here demo files. You see consumer demo files. It means block of code which we need to add to read that data from MPQ, and you see here publisher. Publisher means you have a block of code which can send data to MPQ, and of course, now we need a publisher file. And here you see we need to send host, port, user pass, and vhost. So let's take this data. Yeah, we need to store this data somewhere in config file, right? We don't need to hard code it. So let's create everything what we need in config in PHP. And you saw that we have this file in gitignore, and we can store sensitive data right here. So let's create array with Rabbit data. Let's put it, for example, right here. And yeah, we can take this data from cloud version of our cloud MPQ. We will store this data in config file, and let's check what we need to do to send this data. So here you can see you need to create connection, you need to declare channel, and you need to declare channel type and send message in JSON format, publish it, and close the connection. So it's a big block of code, and let's create, for example, helper function which will do all this stuff, and then we will call this helper function in Vtiger. Okay, let's create, for example, a new file somewhere right here, models Vtiger, and for example you have, yeah, we have helpers folder, and here you can see some Vtiger helper files. I think it's the best place to create MPQ helper function right here. So let's create new class and call it Vtiger MPQ helper. And name of this file will be MPQ helper. Press OK and add it to repository. No, we don't need. We need to import some dependencies. MPQ channel, yeah, this one. And let's to create our functions. I'll just copy paste from this repository all functions what we need. So let me explain what we will create. So I created two main functions. I declared constants for our queues. We will have 3 queues in our RabbitMQ. So first queue is for exchange notifications. I'll call it contacts. So any contact which we create in our Laravel application, we will send it to contacts. Any change which we have in our Vtiger applications, we will send it to VT contacts. And for async communication, we will have the internal queue. So we have 3 queues, and we'll create 3 queues in AMPQ. Then we have some init functions. We will create channel here. So in this section, we will create a channel for queue notification, for creating contacts from Vtiger, right? If we create contact in Vtiger, or we will update contact in Vtiger, we will send it to contacts queue. So that's why we init our channel. We declare queues, and we declare exchange channel, and we bind our exchange channel to our queue. And the same thing for internal channel. And then we register shutdown event. So all this function we will copy paste from README, from our library, from our demo code, and just change the name of queues and exchanges. So we created AMPQ helper, and now what we need else? Let's create first scenario. When we create new contact, we will need to send it to our Laravel application, right? So the best way to do it is to create workflow, right? So let's do it right now, and let's create first function. I prefer to create workflows in separate folder in any model. And let's create first workflow. Let's create folder, workflow, and create new file. For example, call it send to Revit. Add it to the Git, and first thing first, we need to import our AMPQ helper, right? And create functions and to Revit. And here we will accept web service entity. And let's import some libraries for our. Let's import our AMPQ libraries here. And let's import our global variables. Revit data and our log library. And now we need to get, so here we accept web service entity, and now we need to get CRM ID, right? Default procedure, actually we get a web service ID. Here we get something like 10, 12, x 556, and here we need to get 5556, it's CRM ID. We get module name of our web service entity, and if we didn't get any ID, or if there will be error or something, we just stop our function. Here we use our new custom function getCRM entity ID, and we get CRM ID here. We've got CRM ID, and let's get Vtiger record model. So let it be my model instance, and let's get Vtiger record model, get instance by ID, and pass CRM ID. And here we will get contacts record model. Now we need to establish a connection and send data to AMPQ, right? So let's first of all, let's create our connection. So let's establish our connection. We will use AMPQ helper, which we created. And here you see for need notification, you need to pass AMPQ channel. So to use our helper, you need to create channel first. How we'll create it? If you check documentation, we need to create connection. Then from this connection, we need to get channel. So let's do it. Let's create connection. We'll call AMPQ stream connection, pass host, port, user, password, and vhost. And here, if we get any error, we will send it to our log. And of course, you can do something extra here. For example, you can send it to your log library, your third-party log system, and so on, and pass additional information. For example, error in connecting to AMQP, like this. It's everything up to you. And now we can get a channel. We will get a channel here, and now we can use our helper functions. We can init notification, and we can register shutdown, right? So let's do it. So we init notification and register shutdown. Now we can send a message. How we will send the message? Let's check documentation. Here, this thing, right? We need to publish it to our exchange. So let's do it. Okay, what type of message we will pass? We need to pass data, and we'll pass data with JSON format, right? And we will need to publish. We will publish to our exchange notification. It's constant in our AMPQ helper. We'll pass it to contacts. And then from this queue, our Laravel application will get the data. So what type of data we'll need to pass? Let's think about it. Let's create our data array. Okay, first thing you need to pass it's to pass an ID. I think I always pass an ID to our queues because when you will have multiple queues here in RabbitMQ, for example, when you have queue contact and we have multiple messages here, you need something to understand what type of messages you have. So let's delete this queue for demo purposes and create from scratch. When you have multiple messages in one queue, you need somehow to understand what type of message, what type of ID does it have. So let's for this purposes we need to have UID, and we'll use a unique ID function. Now we need to tell our Laravel application what job they need to execute to execute this message. So when we got a message in RabbitMQ, when message comes here, Laravel will listen these messages, and when Laravel will receive this message, they need to execute a job on its own side. So on these purposes, we will tell Laravel what type of job, what file they need to execute. So this one, and later we need to create this job for Laravel, and everything should be done. Now we need to pass data, and let's do it easily. We'll convert our record model to array. My model instance, get data. Of course, you can pass just small amount data. For example, you can pass only ID, and we will do it in our next scenarios. But for this purpose, we'll pass only array of our fresh created contact. We have function, and now let's create our workflow. So, but to see function in our workflow, we need to register it. And for this purposes, you can create, for example, hook in contacts. But for simplicity, now I'll create special folder, for example, scripts, and create new script. Let's create new script. Call it, for example, add send to Revit workflow. And this is just simple script. We create empty method manager and add empty method. Contacts, method name send to Revit, and touch function with this function name. And let's execute the script only once. Of course, you can add additional logic here. You can check if method exists, and don't run add empty method. But for simplicity, for demo purposes, we will use this simple scenario. Let's copy this script and execute it. We are done, and let's create workflow. Go to CRM settings, go to our automation, and new workflow. Let's send contacts to Revit. Let's put in the description for when we create new contact, we send it to Revit. Okay, contacts and contact creation. We will send any contact without any conditions, and let's add custom function send to Revit, and choose our fresh created method name. Save, and I think now everything should works. Let's create new contact. Let's put random numbers. Let's put title manager, primary email, and we'll need description too. Let's press save, and let's go to our Revit. We have one message in contacts. Let's check what type of message here. Now you see all data which we pass here. we'll pass UID, we pass job, and we pass data, right? Here. Now let's listen these messages in our Laravel application. This is our Laravel application, and first thing first, which we need to do is install additional library, and this library right there, this one, LaravelQ driver, and we need to install this dependency. Let's go to our Laravel application, and now here you can see you need to add a new connection. Let's add it. Let's go to config queue, and here you need to create new connection. Under the Redis, let's create new connection from RabbitMQ, and here you can see we read some variables from env file, so that's why we need to create also additional parameters for our env. Let's go to, yes, somewhere we have an error. Yeah, we didn't create a job, but we'll do it a little bit later. Then let's go to our env and add additional data. And here we need to change our connection from sync to RabbitMQ. Right, and let's read documentation very fast. And here at the end you can see that for Laravel queuing you can create our own job class, and this thing we need to implement by ourselves. Let's create this job class. We'll pass already this class name as in instruction, and now we need to create our new file in appq jobs. Okay, what we'll do in this class, we just copy paste this documentation, and here you can see what class name we need to execute, and we just take this class from our job payload from RabbitMQ, and now you see that's why we pass this job from Vtiger. So Vtiger tells Laravel what type of job you need to execute. We'll take it from job array and call method handle, and just execute this method, and then we delete from queue. Okay. Now let's implement our job. We need to create receive contacts jobs. Okay, let's create receive contacts jobs, and now what we will do here, Here we want to create a handle function. It's just default job. It should implement the should queue and the traits. Okay, what we will receive here? Here we will receive array from our RabbitMQ, and we will receive array with data. Yeah, we need to get this data array. We will get this data array, and as a result we got contact data. Now we need to add additional fields to our model to create this contact. What we will do here, as you know, if you check our database, as you know, here we have first name with underscore, but from Vtiger we received data without underscore, so we need to change it on the fly. And here we check if this first name is set in tag data. We will replace it from our original array. So we just copy paste data. So just copy paste data, and we replace last name with last name underscore. So I mean we create new item last underscore name with last name, and we create CRM ID field to fill this field in database. Okay, and now we run update to create function. We check if our CRM ID already exists. We just update all information from Vtiger. And if not, we just create fresh one with this array. Just simple script, very simple, with almost nothing in it. Just receive data and create it in our database. And now if you check documentation, we have a command here, RabbitMQ consume. Now we need to run it. And I think it should now be executed. This command listen new connections. Yeah, we have processed the job. This command listen new connections, so this it should be work in, for example, like you need to install a new server supervisor and put this command into the supervisor, and it should be online every time. So let's check our contacts. Yeah, now we receive our contact from Vtiger with all information in it. So this is our first scenario. We created contact in Vtiger, and it appears here in our contacts list. So let's check another scenario. Let's create another contact. So let's save this contact and let's check our, yeah, it's already processed. You see how fast this RabbitMQ. So yeah, and we have new contact here with our test description. So what we implemented here, let's recap everything what we did here. So in Laravel site, we installed this library. For this library, we created our config file as in README, and we created our custom queue class here. And in this custom view class, we tell our Laravel application that we'll take this job and implement and call method handle with all parameters and of course payload. And then we in this custom job we'll take payload and just create contact. And of course we need to make sure that all fields should be not nullable. I mean first name, last name and CRM ID here. Our first name is not null, our last name is not null, but title can be nullable. And CRM ID is also not null. And what we did in our Vtiger? In our Vtiger we installed Composer. We created special helper where we declare our queues, create our exchange and bind exchange to queue. We registered shutdown helper and that's it. Then we created our workflow, send to Rabbit workflow. It's almost nothing in it. We just take record model, declare a connection, and pass our connection to helper, create array, and send everything to RabbitMQ. And yeah, we create a message and send this message to RabbitMQ. So very simple implementation. And we created a custom function, registered it in database, and created our workflow. Of course, you can go a little bit deeper and you can send not all contacts to your Vtiger. It's everything up to you. You have a workflow, you can manage it whatever you want. So we've done with first scenario, and now we can go to our next scenario and work with updates. And we will implement a little bit different scenario. We will not use workflows. And what should happen if we change our contact? Yeah, we change our contact and we will need to pass this data to our Laravel application. We'll implement this scenario and let's start.